TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in Dekalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in Dekalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Elder Care Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org. Welcome into TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 23. Honored and privileged to have with us there Mike Embrey. Mike Embrey, again, who's ran for mayor a few years ago, has done so much for the community, including for the veterans locally here. And first of all, welcome aboard. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Thank you. Glad to see you again.
You're looking dapper in your suit-type shirt. I don't know what that is that you wear. A vest, shirt, suit.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's... I have to have it back to the funeral home so they can bury the guy tomorrow, so it'll be okay.
All right, we look forward to talking to you about veterans and, of course, the Oak Tree of the News Department. Dan Lynch with us as well. Dan, what's going on, my friend?
Oh, I'm not a snappy dresser today.
No, you're not. You got a lumberjack look he's got going. But what do we got going on in news? And then we're going to talk to Mike Embrey about the Veterans Day and all the stuff that's coming up locally here as well, including the Veterans. What is the name of that again, Michael? The Veterans...
DeKalb County Veterans Recognition Fund.
Yes, we're going to talk about that as well. But Dan, what do you got for news?
Okay. You want the hard news?
Get the hard news. Get out of the way.
A Genoa woman is accused of repeatedly ramming her vehicle into her ex's vehicle. According to arrest documents, police were called to the area of Route 38 and Quitno Road just before 7 a.m. November 1st. The male victim was in his vehicle with 4 passengers when his vehicle was struck by a car driven by 22-year-old Destiny Banner. She rammed his car. His car went into the ditch, and then she continued ramming the car.
Oh, my God.
While in the ditch, the occupants then tried to flee to a field when Banner then tried to ram the occupants, injuring 2 of them, including her ex. Authorities say she was circling the victim's vehicle in the ditch. Banner then fled in her vehicle. And officers found her abandoned vehicle behind a hedgerow on 2587 Route 38. Destiny Banner is now charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and failing to stop after a crash causing personal injury.
Wow, a woman scorned. You know, you had a story last week about a woman who was scorned and took some revenge on her former partner. But this one, boy, and that's considered a lethal weapon, right? You go after somebody in a car.
I'm surprised there wasn't an attempted murder charge.
Yeah, because you have to run somebody down with a car. Wow.
Well, it shows you cannot buy wine at 79 cents a gallon.
There you go. Well, again, our hopes and prayers are with these folks. But he's okay. They're both the 2 that were hit, or
it did say minor injuries.
Minor injuries. Okay.
Wow. And it happened, just before 7 in the morning. I mean, this is rush hour.
Yeah.
So it must have been quite a spectacle.
Must have been. I mean, that's right out of a movie there with the hitting and then trying to chase them down after they leave the car. My gosh. So I was at the Sycamore City Council meeting. I had the pleasure of going there and speaking about Let's Talk Turkey and freezing for food. And the big issue there is the Sycamore downtown parking fine, jumping from $1 to $10. Parking in downtown Sycamore comes January, check in the meter or pay $10 fine after the penalty hike narrowly passed the Sycamore City Council last week by a 4-3 vote. Council increased the city's parking late fine from $1 to $10 for those who outstay downtown parking meter limits. The meters are operated with coins. And now Dan and I were talking off the air about this, Mike, about Sycamore. That was kind of their little prestige, a little nuance that they have, right? They have these cheap parking meters. It's cheap to park there. But the business owners testified at the city council meeting, and they're saying, you can't have a 2-hour limit on this because one was a hairstylist, and she said we'd have to go out and keep feeding the meters. And did we have that problem in Dekalb? Did we ever have meters in Dekalb?
Well, we don't. Well, years ago we did.
We did.
But now there are parking signs, restricted time, 30 minutes, 45 an hour, whatever. but we don't have the enforcement to go around and ticket that. And really how the old guy, I remember years ago, the guy used to go around town, mark your tires.
Right, mark your tires, right.
Yeah, mark your tires, and he would know, well, they don't have that person anymore. So how are they going to know somebody's going to be there for an hour or 2 hours? But you know, like, in some of the parking in downtown Sycamore is 24 minutes.
Is that right?
Yep, one penny gives you 12 minutes, 2 pennies give you 24. It's like, really, that's just stupid. You know, who carries pennies? I mean, a quarter would at least make more sense. You know, but for a penny. But so by the city hall in Sycamore, there are 24-minute meters.
Okay. Because they were talking about the courthouse, a lot of the parking around the courthouse and how that doesn't change over very often. But this is not a dead issue, so this will continue. I guess they're going to postpone it and bring it up at the next city council meeting. But I thought it'd be a no-brainer here. But, you know, $10 still sounds like a little amount, but I guess some of these owners just take the $1 fine each day, you know, and $5 for the week, so not too bad. But we'll see how that plays out. But I thought it was very interesting to go to the Sycamore City Council meeting and see how that is a big issue in Sycamore. Now, Mike, the last time we had you on, we were talking about the Dekalb County Veterans Committee. That close there?
You're getting closer every time. I like it.
Tell us what.
Dekalb County Veterans Recognition Fund.
There we go. Tell us what that is. You know, I was on Locust the other day and I looked up and saw the veterans sign there, the street sign, and boy, getting a real proud feeling to live in DeKalb to see that.
It really is, and a lot of people don't know, in 2024, we were recognized, 2023, as the State of Illinois Veteran City of the Year. So we've done a lot to make people aware of our veteran programs here. From former Mayor Smith and I creating Locust as Honorary Veterans Way, working with John Pappas on the corner of Locust and First Street to put
The flagpoles are unbelievable. Yeah.
And I have to share a story that when that first happened, I talked with John and said, the attorney that former lawyer that had an apartment building across the street, he wanted just the Marine flag up. And I'm not going to tell you who he is, so I'm going to embarrass him, but he told John, no, just put the Marine flag up. Well, John called me and said, well, Tom Doherty said, I'm sorry. Tom Doherty said,
That's what Tom was.
just put the Marine flag up, because he had 2 buildings across that Marine flag. I said, no. He said, what do you mean? I said, you're going to put a service flag up, put them all up, or don't put any.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, they put an American flag up, and then they put the other 4 service branches. So,
Including the Space Force, right? Then they have their own flag now, right?
Mm-hmm. Space Force has their own flag, and we still have a lot of people who don't believe that that's a real branch.
Right. Because you don't hear a lot of talk about the Space Force, you know?
Correct. And their job, and if you really think about reality, the Air Force can only go up to 42,000 feet. You know, anything above that, they have no control. So that's how Space Force was really created, is to create things above normal height, flying heights, and checking out satellites, and eventually there will be weapons at that height. Mm-hmm. So it's a very valid military, started in 2020, and then last year they got their own theme song. So they have a Space Force theme song.
Was it Kenny Loggins? Kenny Loggins does all the... No, I'm kidding.
So, you know, it really is a real branch.
Okay, and then what's the story behind Donna the Tank? Do you know that? For folks who don't know, there's a tank in the city of DeKalb. Donna the Tank. Now, is that I think it's a World War I tank, isn't it? Or is it World War II?
World War II.
It is, okay.
World War II. And the reason the Army gave that tank to DeKalb is that during World War II, we were the principal production of treads for tanks, those metal treads.
Really?
One of our barbed wire factories started making treads for tanks. And we were the primary source of that part of the vehicle.
Really?
So they honored us with a tank with the treads from what we made here. Yeah, we did a lot of stuff in World War II.
Because American on track, you would say. And yes, because I know we made the planes, right? The drones.
Yes, sir.
Back in the day.
I mean, we did a lot of stuff. We made shells for protect the soldiers when bombs would come in. It was like a metal. You try to explain it better, but it's like a turtle. You know, they crawl inside their shell. Well, they made little metal shells to cover the servicemen when bombs were coming in.
Oh, wow.
So that was made here in DeKalb.
Is that right? Their own little foxhole, their own little private foxhole.
Yeah. So they protect them. And there was a lot that's been made. And I'll preview you a little bit with you here, and Dan, that we have submitted an application to become a heritage city for World War II for all the efforts that we have done for World War II, including the drone. And lot of people don't really know about the drone. They know a little bit, but not enough. But one city per state gets that award. And it's supposed to be announced in November. Well, of course, the government shutdown.
Right.
We have no idea when it's going to be announced. But the primary, I think, part of the award that was submitted was about the drone and how we created the drone, why we created the drone, and because of Wurlitzer factory, because they could bend wood, and that's what they needed, the wood. And so in the spring of 1943, the United States Navy came to Dekalb, Illinois. First of all, why would the Navy come here? And why would it be Dekalb? Because they wanted to be as far away from anything that people would recognize. So the drones were actually owned by the United States Navy. It was top secret from 1943 to 1963. Nobody ever knew about what they were doing. So they came in and they were going to build this drone that could be controlled by a radio control or a pilot, but it could pretty much controlled by a radio drone, a plane flying above it, above the anti-aircraft gun. So it could take it in and take an island without sacrificing a service.
Right.
And so...
Yeah, we don't do the kamikazes in America.
No,
we don't do that.
No, we're a little more sophisticated, I think, although we don't know about the government. But anyway, so when they bent this wood and stuff, they had to test these planes, these drones, because they would actually take off by themselves and they could land. And so the Navy built the airport here. The United States Navy built our airport.
Is that right?
Right. And where the GE factory is, because Peace Road wasn't there was a hangar. So they would actually create the carcass, create the drone, put the motor in. GE made the motor, and then fly this plane in and around Dekalb and bring it back in. Here's the funny part. They didn't put a bomb on it, but they knew it would hold a 200-pound bomb. They would bring it back into the hangar and disassemble it, put it in 8 different crates, and ship it to San Diego and reassemble it and put it in an aircraft carrier to go to Japan.
Wow.
So that's kind of a great story.
That is a great story.
And the one thing that I was mostly fascinated by is the shortage of metal during that time. So the Wurlitzer factory went to Swin Bicycle Company in Chicago because they made tubular frames, and Swin made the tubular frames for it, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, we were talking about the Schwinn 10-speed bike. Remember the Bozo show? That was the one, the 10-speed bike from Schwinn.
Yes,
That was All right, so we'll talk some more about that. That's a great story, Mike. But what else you got for news there, Dan?
Sycamore School District 427 approved the sale of its former admin center at 245 West Exchange Street for $151,000. Now, that is an increase of roughly $60,000 from a previously rejected bid this past May. The district completed the sale of its district warehouse at 520 Maple Street. In addition, earlier this year, that was $468,000. But back to the former admin center on Exchange. That was built in 1926.
A beautiful old building. Right.
And it was a school, 26, and then later became used for administration offices. So this sale, this finalized sale, follows the district's purchase last year of the former Nicor Gas call center on Bethany Road, which now serves as the district administration center.
You know, we had Mike DeVito on, the school superintendent from Sycamore, and he was telling that they wanted twice what the original bid was. I think it was $90,000. This was 151, right? I think is what they settled for. Mm-hmm. But what do you think about that, Mike? Get rid of something off the payroll here. The Sycamore School District owned this building. They weren't using it. They were using it for some storage. Why not get what you can and just shut the door on it, right?
Absolutely, unless there's a function we can use it for. Mm-hmm. And that's got to be something we have to be more evaluatory. Is when we got here on normal, where the university sold the schools sold the building to NIU for $1 and had created a nursing center for several years. And then when the population has declined so bad here, they moved the nursing center back on campus. Well, the school district paid $12 million to get that, to buy that back, and what they paid for $1.
Wow.
So I'd like to take them to a gaming show sometime, because I think they can make some money off of that mentality. So they sold it for $1, bought it back for $12 million. And, again, so do we sell the buildings right away? Is there any potential future? Can it be storage? Can it be classroom. There is a storage building. I can't tell you where because I know who owns it. But there's a storage building here in Dekalb who has hundreds and hundreds of desks from District 428, desks and petitions and kitchen goods and stuff, because they can't sell it because it's state property.
Oh,
But they paid the rent to keep this. And as you look at all this stuff, the desks were beautiful. And I'm thinking, why are we putting all brand new desks in these schools when you can still be using, some of the existing product?
right.
And like the new school, the Mitchell School up on Normal, they have all brand new stuff. I mean, it's just state of the art. And sadly enough, again, it's taxpayers' dollar. Everybody says, well, no, it is. It's taxpayers' dollar. So, but yeah, if the building can be refunctioned, yes. If it can't, yeah, we need to move on and sell them.
Well, we call that a segue in the business because I have this article here, teachers to turnover in DeKalb County, 91% remain in their position year after year. According to the Illinois School Report Card, 91% of teachers remain in schools through DeKalb County year to year based on the 2024 averages from the Illinois State Board. There are 1,206 full-time faculty members in DeKalb County with student-to-teacher ratio 13-1. Now, that's pretty good, right? I mean, it used to be a lot higher than that. The 13-1 data shows 16,041 students enrolled in 38 schools in the county. The average salary for the teachers was $68,838, ranking 13th in the 102 counties in the state salary. But this I found interesting, more than 3,800 unfulfilled teaching positions in the 24-25 school year. So that's down 5% from last year. So lots of teaching jobs that are not being filled.
Oh, absolutely. And there's concerns about that, to motivate kids to want to go into to be a teacher. And one of the things that I have a problem with is that these school districts, especially smaller country towns, they should provide a scholarship to a student. If you would like to be an education major, and we will pay your tuition, but you must teach at our school for 10 years or 8 years or pay back that amount. Well, that would motivate a lot of young kids to say, well, I think I will go into education. I won't come out with a big debt.
Right.
So
I know that's been done for years, right? Where you promise this X number of service, we'll put you through medical school, but then you come serve at our hospital for 10 years and then we'll call it even, right?
Right. So why can't we do it with education?
Yeah, I like that.
Motivate people to come out and teach in the schools.
Dan, you got 6 kids at home. Any of them want to be a teacher yet? I am thinking about, I want to teach.
I have one who would be a good teacher.
Okay.
I knew a kid who, he was in the South, Mississippi, went to Ole Miss because it was free, provided he, stayed in Mississippi and taught
Okay.
public schools.
So what a great deal. Everybody wins.
Or
there,
it was nearly free.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
I thought was
All right, that's great. What else you got for news there, my friend?
Panduit announced it will close its DeKalb warehouse next month, December, and then move its operations to Indiana. This will impact 185 employees. The electrical manufacturer opened the DeKalb location in 1998. They will relocate from its 600,000 square foot warehouse on Fairview to a 425,000 square foot warehouse in Merrillville, Indiana, although there is room for expansion at the Merrillville location. The company was founded in 1955 in Tinley Park, Illinois.
Really? So did you know about this, Mike? I didn't know. That's a lot of jobs, 185 jobs. And I was going to say, this region of Illinois seems to be okay. Well, we obviously, the business district is doing well, the Park 88. But are you surprised to see this, Mike, somebody jumping over to Indiana like this? I mean, we know there's reasons why they're going.
It's tax dollars.
Yes.
Absolute tax incentives. And I'd like to, Dan, I'd like to know what percentage of those 186 workers really lived in DeKalb. There lies your problem.
Well, 185, I should say, permanent employees. This doesn't include temp or remote.
Okay. But what's your point now, Mike, that you think that these companies should require that you live in the town that you're working in?
Well, no, but I mean, not having people live in our town, that's an economic impact, even though, the factories here and they do pay taxes, I get that. But wouldn't it be nice to have the affordable housing in order incentive to get people to live here and not come in from, if you've ever gotten on the tollway on Peace Road and jump on the tollway at 6:30 in the morning, there are a line of cars coming westbound on 88 come to work here to the different factories. So we're not getting those kind of people to live here. And part of, you just brought it up about education, our school district, District 428, elementary through junior high, on a 10-point academic scale, only ranked 2 and 3.
Really?
Yeah. So, and we get this all the time, and people say, "Oh, I'd like to move to Dekalb," and the real estate agent will say, "Do you have kids?" Yeah. "Oh, no, you don't want to move to Dekalb. You want to move to Sycamore. Better schools and better, And so it's a fight that we have, and there's why your ratio is so small, because we don't have the student population. And years ago, there was a local businessman that fought the fact that we imported a lot of students here to Dekalb because of the benefits here.
Right.
And that has declined. But we still, Gwendolyn Brooks, up in the northwest part of the city, ranks a 1 out of 10 academically.
Is that right?
Yeah. So it's hard to incentivize people that they're going to they have children to want to move here. But we need workers. They're building more factories, and of course you lose Panduit, but they're building a new one coming out on Beach Road there in Fairview. There's a new factory coming in, so there'll be work there, and eventually we hope Heinz Craft will finally
Stabilize, if you would.
Stabilize and come back, and of course they did file for bankruptcy. They're splitting the two companies again. Ross Perot bought one of them, and so but there hasn't been a lot of work done on that building in the last 12 months.
What, look at the chart. Look at the chart I got here. You can see the charts that I got here. We got the Graf Heinz. Heinz doesn't lose money.
Yeah.
So that was by Ross Perot. I had to get that in there. Well, that's really interesting because, we had Marvin Barnes here, an alderman from Sycamore, and he was pointing out how blessed we are in Dekalb here in terms of our taxes because so much of it is from industry as opposed to Sycamore, where they only have like 5% of their tax dollars come from industry because they don't have any industry there.
Correct.
So we have that benefit going here in Dekalb, right?
We do, and I think the scary part, both you and Dan, is that all the agencies out there have their hand up, and they're if you follow the paper here, and I know Dan has, is the library wants a lot more money, the school district wants a lot more money, the park district just released their request for more money. So we're not gaining, and what I think they're anticipating is this new revenue coming in from south of town. But we still have to make that up in tax. Our population has not grown.
Yeah.
If you look at the city of Dekalb, they masked it, but we have not grown in the last 10 years. In fact, we lost 4,000.
Well, the numbers are deceiving, right? Because they used to include the campus, the students on campus. I mean, that's true or not. So it's always around 40,000, right?
They couldn't include the students in the dorm, but they could if the student was renting an apartment. That was a legal student. That was a legal population. They couldn't count the students living in the dorm. So, but we don't have that many kids living here.
No.
There lies your problem. I mean, if you want to look at how embarrassing it is, you look at the parking lot behind on the northwest side by the North 40. It's all full of cars now. They're all commuter. They're coming in for the day. And it's if you take a picture of that, and I've done that because I live nearby, on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, that parking lot is full. Friday is empty.
Everybody's going home, yeah.
These professors, they only do 2 days. They don't come out here. They don't live here, by the way. There's another sad scenario. 300 deans, professors, and administrators live east of 47, who, by the way, make over $100,000. You know how much that is? That's $30 million that does not live in our community.
Yeah.
That's a big concern. And when people say, well, we've lost students. We lost over 10,000 students. And you take a student who spends $2,000 a school year on pizza and beer and sundry items.
4,000 of it's Dan, yes.
Yeah, for him. But that's another 20 million. So just because of what's happening at the university, we've lost $50 million in the last 10 years of economic impact. And you know this as a businessman as you are, is that a dollar turns 4 or 5 times. So that waitress at Fatty's takes her money and she goes to Walgreens, and that person goes to the junction. So the money turns. So we don't have that economic impact.
All right, good answer.
I think I only had about 4 groups of trick-or-treaters at my house.
Is that right?
The whole night.
Wow.
I mean, I bought $35 worth of candy.
You didn't bring any in?
I ended up bringing the rest to work, and they were devoured, but not a lot of trick-or-treaters. Did you have a lot of...
We didn't know what over there on 10th Century Street where we're at, but I've also understood that some people take their kids to nicer neighborhoods to trick-or-treat. That's an interesting concept. I guess why not, right? I mean...
Absolutely. And I don't get trick-or-treaters 3 years ago, I started giving out toothbrush and toothpaste, and I don't know why, but the kids don't want to come out. I'm excited, Dan, because you brought something that I'm dear to my heart. 14 years ago, I started a foundation called Sweets for Troops, and it all came from Halloween. 14 years ago, it was just cold, rain, and miserable, and trick-or-treaters didn't come out. And people say, oh, all this candy. I had just gotten a notification from a organization in the suburbs looking for products to send to the veterans or to the servicemen overseas. They package a box, and it'll have toothpaste and socks and candy, whatever. And I said, would you like candy? Well, the very first year I did that, I collected 250 pounds of candy. Last year, we collected over 800 pounds of candy.
Wow.
For the troops.
That's awesome. And you get it right over to them, right? Get it
We
quickly.
take it to the distribution center, and they package it up in boxes, so they'll send, like, if there's 40 guys in one regiment, all 40 guys will get a gift box.
Cool. I was just looking at your cufflinks. Nobody wears cufflinks anymore. Those are sharp-looking cufflinks, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, what else you got for news, my friend?
Sharp dressed man.
Yeah.
A Dixon man, this is heavy, TD. A Dixon man is accused of disseminating videos of child pornography. Authorities say the offense happened on, well, according to the arrest document, the offense happened on Deer Path Lane in Dekalb. So I'm thinking the disseminating happened. Okay, according also to the arrest document, the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office got word from the Illinois Attorney General by way of the cyber tip line from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children that a person in DeKalb was in possession of videos and disseminating them. In late October, federal authorities identified the underage girl in the videos to be from Texas, a 24-year-old Jonathan Rivera of Dixon is now charged with 4 counts of child pornography.
All right, yeah, there's really nothing to be said. They're just sad. There's no other word for that. It's just scary times, too. And but the kids, very frightening stuff. To lighten things up a little bit here, we're talking about voting. Of course, we just had the elections here yesterday, or was it the day before? But Tuesday, Democrats did quite well there. DeKalb County will see just one primary ahead of November general election next year. That will be in the County Board District number 5, where 2 Democrats, Danielle Van Tilburg of DeKalb and Devin Wilcox of Cortland, have both filed to run. District 5 covers Cortland along with parts of DeKalb and Maple Park. And, since I started doing this podcast, Mike, I never realized how the DeKalb County Board is really laid out. I know there's 24 members of the board, right? So we have different sections like this one. District 5 is parts of DeKalb and Maple Park, right? So it's all kind of broken down that way with 2 representatives from each district, right?
Right. And it's kind of strange how the lines divide in 2 different communities who have two different needs in 2 different areas, and sometimes it includes farmland in between. It's like Malta and Maple Park and Cortland and DeKalb, how that whole section gets divided up is just amazing. I hate to use the word gerrymandering, but a lot of times
Why no? What happened to the grids? We have grids. We can't just have everything in grids.
We can't get the right votes if we grid it, So that's like what they did with the 76th district, where they was turned into 75th. Ottawa, South Peru, that's that big, you look at a blob, and all of a sudden a 2.5 mile strip all the way up to grab DeKalb. And it's like, that is just so.
It is. It's not practical to govern that way.
It isn't. And I don't care. So far, except we had a couple candidates run this area last time, Corn Barnes and
Carolyn, right?
Carolyn Morris ran. But the other candidates are all from down that area. They don't know anything about us. I mean, if you live in Ottawa, South Peru, that's a whole different environment. It's more of a country environment, industrial. They have no academic institutions like we do at the NIU. So it's not fair to us as the voters to be subjected to that. But again, it's manipulated by the voting process.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. And we want to point out incumbent Republican County Clerk and Recorder Tasha Sims of Kingston is filed to run for re-election, along with Democratic challenger Douglas Jenke of DeKalb. Good to see somebody challenging that. Incumbent Republican Treasurer Becky Springer of Sycamore is also seeking re-election, will face Democrat Derek Shaw of Cortland. And Republican Andy Sullivan, I didn't realize the sheriff is Republican or Democrat, is that right? Mm-hmm. Republican Sheriff Andy Sullivan is the sole candidate for a file for his office there. So good to see people challenging, right, running for office.
We need that. I mean, it's sad, when you have an election, and the last time with the city election, We had 4 alternate spots open, and only 1 was challenged. The other were all in. That's our big problem. And we need people. I've said we need a class. I mean, you would be a good tutor that Terry is saying, okay, how do you run for office? Why do you run for office? What can you do?
So we had Matt Duffy here from the Dekalb Chamber of Commerce. They actually had a little seminar about that. How do you run for office and how for board seats? How to get on a county board or also a board member of one of these agencies. So
right. And it should be neutral, and that's the problem. It should not be a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. It should be, on principle, economics. Here's a word that people don't know: common sense.
No, we don't seem to know that.
Wow.
All right, Dan, what else you got for news, my friend?
Sycamore police are reporting a rise in financial and bank scams that often start with email, appearing to come from a well-known brand. In recent cases, scammers spoofed emails to look like they came from PayPal, claiming an account error, even when the recipient did not have an account with PayPal. So you, the consumer, are encouraged to avoid calling numbers provided in the emails, as scammers can quickly gain access to accounts or prompt fund transfers. A local bank recently assisted a customer and helped prevent some financial losses. Police urge you to talk with family and friends about these scams and to contact the non-emergency line for Sycamore 895-2123.
We call that a segue in the business because now I've been printing out. I just went to the Dekalb Police Department police report for just one day. This is for Monday, November 3rd. Just to give an idea how busy the police department is. Trespassing land, domestic battery, telephone harassment, disorderly conduct, abandoned vehicle, disorderly conduct, retail theft. There's 8 retail thefts, all at the 2300 block of Sycamore, so I think we can guess where that is. Speeding, citations, domestic battery, all that in just one day for the police department. Because people talk about crime in DeKalb and other areas. You don't know until you actually look at this and how much is actually going down in one given day.
Oh, yeah, quite a bit. And where I live, it's not unusual to hear gunshots, even though it's not always reported.
And where are you at now? Tell people.
I live on just behind the North 40.
Okay.
In that area, and so it's dark. It's open land, and you can hear the gun. It's quiet. You can hear the gunshots, And sometimes we hear sirens, and sometimes we don't. So it's one of those deals.
Yeah. Wow, that's sad to hear that. All right, Dan, you got another news story?
I think I'm tapped out.
Let's go to community calendar. Let's lighten things up with a little community calendar. And of course, that's being brought to you by your friends at Stagecoach Players Theater. Want to thank them for providing tickets for the Haunted House. Now, it's a Christmas Carol that's coming up on December 11th through the 14th. We're going to be giving away tickets for that here coming up in the following week. But again, go to stagecoachplayers.com for all the information.
I want to go to that.
All right, we'll get you tickets there. And then 748-1940 to call for the box office there. Well, Let's Talk Turkey is now just 2 weeks away from 2 weeks from Friday. We're recording this on November 5th is today, right?
Today's the 6th.
The 6th today. So that's going to be on November 21st there at the Salvation Army. We're asking you to please bring by a turkey or a monetary donation. And I saw this in the paper yesterday. The DeKalb Salvation Army is accepting registration for the annual Thanksgiving food box for families in need to receive for food for the holidays. Registration takes place from 9 a.m. to noon, Monday through Thursday, until November 21st, when we'll be down there collecting the turkeys at the Salvation Army at 830 Grove Street. Participants will receive a turkey, a food box, proof of residency is required. Community members who register in advance will earn a Thanksgiving dinner box by appointment only on November 25th. So I know the demand has been huge, and I know this Hy-Vee and some of the other local establishments are giving away some food now to people, to families. I think it's great that they see the community stepping up like that.
Absolutely.
So we got that going on. And then I want to thank our friends at Blue Silo Orchard. We're one of our sponsors this year. Russ, really a great guy over there, and this is their first year for Blue Silo Orchard. This is their last weekend out there, so you want to go check them out. It's just an old-fashioned kind of a orchard there, Blue Silo Orchard. They're between Creston and Malta. Actual address is 19387 Tower Road. And happy to report, Dan, that you went there. You said you went there and bought some pumpkins there, right?
Beautiful location, and $3 a piece.
Can't go wrong with that.
But they even gave us a couple of gourds, so it was nice.
Also, the community calendar, we've got an evening of encores coming up at the Dekalb Library on November 14th at 6:30. The Hairband Experience, I know you're going to be there for that, Mike. That's your favorite. Hairband Experience at the Egyptian Theater on November 14th. The Sound Healing Experience here at the Dekalb Library on the 15th. And then Jazz in Progress, November 15th, 6:30 at the Dekalb Library. And I immediately thought of Ron Modell, right? Because didn't Ron start that Jazz in Progress?
No, some of his students did. He did not start it. And I'm glad you brought that up because they're doing a tribute to Ron Modell on November 18th, I think it is, at NIU.
Okay.
And a lot of his students are coming back. They're going to have a university jazz band, but they're going to have an alumni jazz band come back. And in fact, a former the band director, jazz band director after Ron, Tony Garcia, is coming back from New Orleans.
Is that right?
He's going to come back and play. And so that's what a great tribute and what a great guy.
Oh, it really is, yeah. And in sports, we always take a quick look at sports, just like the morning show. Want to commend Joe Ryan for his tremendous career there at Sycamore High School. We're going to have Joe on the podcast here in the near future. But NIU, what's going on with NIU football team there, Mike? You follow them pretty closely, don't you? We're talking about Thomas Hammock's big contract that he signed after that good year they had, and then they kind of tanked the last couple of years.
Oh.
And, they got whooped last night, I know.
Pretty well whooped.
Yeah. The Toledo there.
And it's sad. And so it's going to be, for me, my involvement in the band and being the band director there and very supportive of the university. But when you have a 2-7 record, 9, they have 3 more games left. It's really hard to get, and then we still have the next 2 games. Next week is away on a Wednesday. The following Tuesday is home at 6:00 at night on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
People are not going to be clamoring to go out for that.
No, they're not.
This one is the one it's going to blow everybody's mind. On Friday after Thanksgiving at 11 a.m. at Husky Stadium is their last home game. Like
A weekday at 11 a.m.? Wow, really?
It's Friday.
Well, Black Friday.
Oh, Black Friday. Okay, all right. Well, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, even the guys' wives that are going shopping, the guys are going to say, I think I'll go put new laces in my Sunday shoes. I'm not going to be doing that. So it's going to be a tough time, and this moving to the new conference is going to be a real challenge. So I can tell you that we're the furthest east of the new teams, and the closest ones you could go to and most affordable would be Wyoming.
Yeah.
And it means you fly to Denver, you can get some really good cheap rates, because I'm in the tour business. You get cheap rates to Denver, so it's an hour and a half, 2 hours north to University of Wyoming, or an hour and a half south to Air Force Academy. Those are 2 of the schools. The only other ones, or maybe 2, would be Reno, Nevada. You can go on a gambling junket.
Right. That's a pretty cheap flights, yeah.
University of Nevada and Las Vegas. But who's going to fly to Hawaii? And everybody says, well, they'll come here. Excuse me? People are flying to Hawaii.
And Hawaii, the Dekalb is one of the top.
We're going in October. That'll fly.
I can see the Hawaiian travel agency. Come to the Dekalb in October. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, we're always a great answer there, too. We always like to make this just like the morning show, so we also do the obituary reports, and we have 2 here. Jim O'Connor passed away at age 66. Married to Terry Jones in 1980 for 45 years. They're married. Jim was a humorous man. He loved to make jokes and fool around just about anyone he met. He had the most contagious laugh followed by a playful smirk. He always found small joys in utilizing smiles he received and produced. He was a handyman, very productive. If Jim had a tool in a YouTube video, he could fix anything. So kudos to Jim for helping so many people out in his lifetime. And then this one, Donna Peterson, age 80 of Sycamore. Donna, raised in Virgil and Elburn, she developed a strong sense of community, faith, and kindness guided throughout her life. 61 years of marriage to Howard Peterson. They started Peterson Decorating Center in Sycamore in 1969 until 1985. They did Service Master Fire and Flood Restoration until 2005. And during that same time, they opened the Country Charm Bed and Breakfast. Did you know about that, Mike, the bed and breakfast? Of course, yeah, you would know all about this stuff. Yeah,
they also had the chapel.
Right, and then also started a chapel in the Pines, a beloved wedding venue where over 3,500 couples have exchanged vows there. So what a life this lady lived.
Wow. Huh? Beautiful lady, very, very pleasant, always fun to talk to. She always had that bubbling personality. You just wanted to talk to her.
Yeah, and I guess at one point they built their own chapel, and that's when that led to the chapel in the Pines.
Right, yeah, it's a beautiful chapel, and people get married. They have multiple weddings, and they actually took one of the barns and created a banquet center.
Okay.
They can't do their own food there. They could cater it in. But The barn's beautiful, what they redid on it. So, yeah, they do a ton of, and their son is a ordained minister, so he does a lot of the marriage.
Really? Okay. Oh, what a story, boy. And I want to mention, too, Veterans Day ceremony for in Dekalb here will be on Veterans Day at 11 o'clock at the Memorial Clock there, and that's at 101 East Lincoln Highway in Dekalb. We're going to do a news quiz, and I think I have, is there a gentleman lurking outside right there? Bill Finucane's going to come in real quick and talk about Let's Talk Turkey, because we got it coming up 2 weeks from Friday. Yeah, all of a sudden it's right upon us here. So he's going to come tell us about that real quick, as Dan doesn't lock himself out the door there.
Well, will, and we have a lot of veteran stuff going on.
He did lock himself up. But we're going to, Bill Finucane's going to join us real now. Why don't you take your seat real quick there, Dan, if you don't mind. And Bill, of course, you know Mike Embrey as well. Two gentlemen who've done a great deal for the DeKalb County in the building with us right now. It does not include Dan. Okay.
Well, yeah, Mike and I have known each other since he came to Northern as the director of the Marching Huskies.
Is that right? Wow.
Yes.
So this is old home week for you guys. But
Oh my gosh.
tell us about it. We just mentioned Let's Talk Turkey, Bill Finucane, but we were talking about the fact that it's coming up here on November 21st and the fact that we don't have the radio station to promote it, so we're trying to get the word out any way we can, right?
We are, and we've been successful so far. We've gotten some pub in a couple of different ways. We're on different community calendars and different websites, so we're making great progress. And, and my Kiwanis Club has got it up in a couple of different places. So, yeah, we're making good progress getting word out. And, we're already having some success. I mentioned to you yesterday.
Yeah, I see you got a
we've already
donation,
had
right.
a couple of monetary donations, so we're making progress already.
Although it sickened my soul to see you on the B95 Facebook page, but you went there, didn't you? You went on the other side there to talk to them. That's right.
I did go to the dark side, but when we first started talking about this, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
No.
But that interview played this morning.
Okay, very good. Yeah, we're excited. The NIJ is going to come out. The NIJ is going to come out with us and do a little coverage. And the Coyote, right? 102 out of Rockford there, the country station.
Yeah.
Rochelle,
It's
right,
out of
yeah.
Rochelle, but I think that's going to be more with freezing for food than Let's Talk Turkey.
Okay, all right.
But yes, and like I said, we are making some progress. Things are looking up. We are hoping at Salvation Army to feed over 700 families. So,
We should point out that Bill volunteers over there at the Salvation Army Food Pantry, and obviously the numbers are up probably higher than ever, I'm guessing.
Well, I can tell you this, 2 months ago, we were doing between 40 and 50 families a day. Lately, it's been 60 to 70. This morning.
And these are families, that's not
These are
people.
families, yeah. Hit 82 today.
Oh, my gosh.
So yes, we're going through a lot of product, plus, some of the supplies are starting to dwindle. We're running out of some things, but we're trying to still make it work, so.
And plus you have the SNAP benefits going away, or they're cutting them in half, I guess, here in November, and they're going to have to wait for that payment. So meanwhile, you guys got to fill that void, don't you?
We're trying, the way it's set up now, our clients can come in twice a month. Unfortunately, there's another number of other food pantries in town that people can go to assistance for also.
All right, very good. I know, and we were talking about Hy-Vee and some of the establishments giving away meals to kids and stuff, and so great to see the community stepping up like that.
Oh, it is. It really is well, and, we need to mention, TD, how great the DeKalb Firefighters Union has always been
Yes.
for us with the Let's Talk Turkey, and they are on board again this year, so.
Yeah, we are blessed to have the DeKalb Fire Department. Not only they donate, but they bring all the turkeys in themselves, which
They
is
do,
nice.
yes. So you and I don't have to lift them. You bring in 100 turkeys, and that's a little bit of lifting.
Yeah, so let's remind people, it's coming up on November 21st. It's at the Salvation Army, 9th and Grove Street, 830 Grove Street is the actual address. And explain to Bill, then other church groups in the area will help complete that
They
meal,
will bring
right?
in all the fixings. So, those 700 meals will be assisted with different baskets or shopping bags of food that have been accumulated in churches and different clubs and what have you. Even like the Stagecoach is doing the same thing. They're helping out that way too.
Oh, that's fantastic. So again, come on by, and again, you don't have to bring a turkey. You could bring a ham or a roast or a lamb shank. We're always looking for a lamb shank. We never seem to get one. But also people can make a monetary donation
A
as well.
monetary donation is great because that will help the Salvation Army offset the cost of the turkeys that they need to purchase when we don't meet our needs.
All right, very good. And we want to challenge all the service groups as well, because again, we have service groups helping us out too, and we know every time there's a little surprise every year. Somebody comes up.
Oh, yeah, and I know that over the years, you and I have both been surprised by the one city employee just shows up and doesn't want his name mentioned, doesn't want anything, and he'll just hand you $5 $100 bills.
And it's happened more than once, I'll tell you
has.
that. Well, Mr. Finucane, we want to thank you for all you do for the community. Again, I know, Mike, you could speak about this guy and what he's done for the community as well.
Absolutely, and from being an alderman to being very supportive of NIU, and he's probably one of the quintessential cheerleaders for the university.
No, very well put. All right, well, listen, we'll see you soon.
Bainsey, too.
Biking with Beansy, can't forget about that.
Yeah,
That's
can't
right.
forget
So-
about that. And of course, let me quickly mention Freezing for Food 2 weeks after Let's Talk Turkey, December 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, we hate to hit people all with that at once. I was just talking to the guys at Barry's Backyard Sheds, and he's going to try to get us a shed there. And of course, Blackhawk Moving and Storage is going to provide the Go Mini for us. And Gus over there at Hy-Vee, want to give him a lot of credit for allowing us to be there again. And again, we don't have the radio station to promote this, so we're asking people to help promote Freezing for Food. We know they're right kind of close together there, but
Well,
it's-
I can tell you this, for Let's Talk Turkey, there was a woman who approached me and got a couple of our flyers, printed off dozens more on her own, and walked through her whole subdivision and passed them out at every home.
oh, wow. That is awesome. Yeah, John Cornell used to live here in town, used to do that, walk through his whole neighborhood and get people involved. So that's great. We have people like that. Well, thank you, Bill, for all you do. We got to get to our news quiz and our birthday list, but you got a birthday you want to add or an anniversary of somebody locally?
No, don't have any holiday birthdays. My next family birthday is not until March.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for all you do there. Bill Finucane joining us here again, former alderman. Tremendous job, of course, volunteering over there at the Salvation Army. I want to give some birthdays here. We have, Mike Reynolds' birthday was on the 5th here in DeKalb. Batty Singleton of Sheridan will have a birthday on the 7th. Eric Carlton. Oh, this is great. So I put on Facebook, please, if you have any November birthdays, please tell me. So Errol put, my grandmother, Mary Gutierrez of Clare, is turning none of your business on November 8th. So happy none of your business birthday to Mary. She celebrates on the 8th. Uncle Tom Reynolds will have a birthday on the 10th in Sycamore. And Angela Leak of Genoa will celebrate on the 18th. So thanks to Angie for getting us that birthday list. And Dan, as tradition would have it, we do our news quiz. And you might, what do you have, a question for me? What do you want to know?
T-Bone, what are you giving away?
Well, funny you should ask, because we have a deluxe car wash. And again, this is not a rag on a stick. This is a deluxe car wash from Ralph's Full Service Car Wash and Detail Center. They're at 820 Mercantile Drive there across from Menards. Plus, in addition thereof, we have a gift certificate to Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more. Again, the wonderful folks over there at Pizza Villa. When you play the radio news, when you play the news podcast quiz program news thing.
All right, this company announced it will close its Dekalb warehouse in December as they move operations to Indiana. What is that company?
All right, what is that company? Can you tell us that? 748? No. It's TD Ryan 2001 at yahoo.com. Again, send me an email if you know the answer to that, and I will make sure you get these 2 gift certificates. TD Ryan 2001 at yahoo.com. Now, unfortunately, Mike, we didn't get to all the stuff that you wanted to talk about with the veterans. We get a lot of it, though. Did we catch most of what's going on locally here?
There are so many things going on for Veterans Day, from schools having programs on the 10th. On the 8th, there are several programs going on Saturdays. When you have Veterans Day on a weekday, it gets really kind of a challenge. But we've got a lot of things going on, services going on, schools are committed.
I should mention Ferranda's is also doing a veterans meal as well, right?
Brandon's
Want to help
doing
out?
a meal. A lot of people are free car wash, free oil change, free haircuts. I mean, all that stuff is very important. But it really is important for us to educate the kids about what Veterans Day is. And it's to honor our existing veterans, the people that are alive. And so that was one of the schools. Clinton Rosette wanted me to do a ceremony on the 11th. I said, I'm already booked. I've got 8 or 9 things already to do. I said, well, why don't we do it on the 10th? And we will give the kids a quiz to go home and quiz their parents about what do you know about Veterans Day?
I love it.
What was Veterans Day originally called?
Armistice Day,
Armistice Day. What year?
1918.
1918. And who signed off?
Woodrow Wilson.
My gosh, you're smarter than a 4th grader. I'm telling you. And when did it change?
I want to say the Eisenhower administration, the 50s.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It did. And so, but it's good that the kids know that, and they talk about the services, and we do have veterans come out and they'll ask us questions about what you did in the service, and one of the things that some of the little kids always get these little macho kids come and say, did you shoot anybody?
Right, that's
that's always the question I get. Did you shoot anybody? No, I was a bandsman, and I may have killed him with my horn, it's the sound of my horn, but I never really killed anybody. But the one interesting thing I tell about kids is that whatever your parents do, there is a job in the military like that. So if your father's a banker, there's bankers in the military. If your mom's a cook, well, there's cooks in the military, or computer people. Whatever your parents do, there is a similar job in the military.
That's a great way to teach that to a kid. It really is. It's
Right, because they don't know. All they think's guns and tanks and planes.
Right.
You know, and there's, you know, like, I spent 4 years as a musician, you know, and so there's bands, there's several branches that have orchestras. All the branches have a choir, chorus. You can learn technology, you can, you know, what a great way to learn and get educated.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places.
Yes.
I can do that.
That goes back a long
Oh, that goes back way. Okay. Well, Mike Embrey, thank you so much for what you do and continue to do for our community. We appreciate it, especially for the veterans, my friend. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Dan, we always give you the final word. What do you got for us? Impearling wisdom as only Dan Lynch can do.
Just Thanksgiving's forthcoming too. Big month for a lot of family and friends and football.
Yeah, and football.
And,
Big thanks to our sponsors for allowing us to do this. Big thanks to my nephews for making this happen. And that's TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 23.
TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in Dekalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in Dekalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Elder Care Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org.